Episode of the Everblack Podcast is brought to you by Deathwish, Hotrods and Kustoms. Check out their Instagram for all their new t-shirts, caps, beanies, cups, and the all-new Atomic Death lineup.
Hey, this is Trevor Sternad from the Black Dahlia Murder here, and you're listening to the Everblack Podcast.
Hey, human skull, this is odorous from Guam.
Going to the Fear Factory.
This is George Corshunner Fisher.
This is Gas from Devil Drop.
This is Wade from Our Last Enemy.
The Magnificent Suicidal Tendencies.
Hey, this is Wednesday 13.
This is
Rex from Kill Devil Hill.
This is
Gary from Sepultura. You're listening to Everblack Podcast.
So thanks for joining us on the show. Of course, the new APATE EP Rage comes out on June 25 through Human Warfare. And man, it's chaotic, it's heavy. And I guess it's got a lot to unpack in regards to how dark it is. And lyrically, it's really, really dark. What was the seeds of this thing that drove, the lyrical concepts and the tone of it?
Well, basically, there was for Zakk, it's gone on a lot longer than it has for me, but basically when we came into the recording process of this EP and the writing process, we knew that we wanted to talk about something that was like real and like experiences that we had gone through personally, and like we didn't want to be disingenuous. We wanted everything to be raw and real. So we sort of dove back into some pretty personal trauma that Zakk and I both went through. And for both of us, it was very different, but it sort of all came out the same way. For me, it was a pretty heavy abusive relationship that I went through for a few years. Just like being stuck in a situation you feel trapped in, like being gaslit, like the lies become so often that you don't know what to believe anymore. And so for me, it was sort of a way for me to come to terms with this like horrible experience that I'd been through that I'd never really want to wish upon anyone. And just a way for me to come to terms with how like my feelings on that period of my life and to move on. But I'll let Zakk talk about his part.
Yeah, I know. You pretty much hit the nail on the head though. It's just about past traumas and releasing everything, I don't know, over many, many of years that has weighed on my chest and, weighed on Caleb's chest. And we sat down like, all right, let's get it all on paper and let's figure out how to, all these things we wish we could have said and that we wish we would have said, just split it out, let off our chest, get a weight off our shoulders. And I guess that's Rage. That's what it became.
Yeah. And well, for me, it was like a later in my like adolescence type thing, like a relationship. For Zakk, it was like his whole
upbringing. Yeah.
Childhood, like everything about it. So when he first told me like the things that he'd gone through fully as a child, because we've been best friends since we were 16, but it wasn't until we actually sat down for the writing process for this album that I actually got to hear the full extent of everything that had happened to him. And it honestly like rocked me. Like I couldn't even imagine having to go through the same things he went through. And it's like, just being subject to like alcohol and drug abuse, like physical abuse from partners of parents, like witnessing all this horrible shit. And it's like, Zakk, I cannot imagine like him going through that and like coming out to be this like kind-hearted, sweet person he is today. Like the balance just doesn't add up. It's crazy some of the things that he's experienced over the years that I didn't even know until we literally sat down to write this EP and he just laid it all out for me. And I was like, wow, heavy.
That's how it be, man. That's how it be.
Did you find that going through that process together made it easier in the end when you went to go and unleash it in the vocal booth?
I'd say so, I reckon.
Yeah, man, I would agree. Like specifically, there was like we had this one night where we had planned to sort of get all our ideas out on the paper and like figure out what we were going to talk about and which songs we were going to talk about in, etc. And we went out to dinner, and we like we're in the middle of this restaurant, like basically crying, like in front of each other, like wiping away our tears, like fuck, this is
little
so
bros
crazy.
session, you know.
Yeah, we were just like just letting it, because we'd there was sort of like a 2-year period before this EP started coming to be, where although we were still best friends and very close, we were dealing with some really heavy shit personally, and so we didn't open up to each other about what we were going through. And so this was our like release to just like sort of sit down and just really be like honest with each other and like, hey, this is what I've been dealing with. And we were both just kind of like so overwhelmed by it at that time. But the second that, you know, it all started coming out, we knew that we had something like raw and real to write about for this EP, which is, I think, makes all that difference, you know.
Definitely.
Absolutely. How, well, I mean, obviously only a few people have heard it. They've heard the singles, but what are you hoping that people get out of it? You know, being that honesty from you guys and your own personal experiences and sharing that with the world. You know, what are you hoping that people take away from that?
I hope with some things that, you know, like people can relate to if they'd been through experiences that are similar or, you know, different, but obviously they don't know firsthand what we've been through. So hopefully through their experiences, they can relate to some of the words that are, you know, put down on those tracks, and it, I don't know, helps them, I guess.
Yeah, I guess because lyrics can be interpreted in different ways. Yeah. So like, if anything speaks to anyone, I just hope that people can relate and they can realize that they're not alone and other people are dealing with some horrendous shit. And that like, yeah, you're never alone. There's always like people you can reach out to and talk to. And there's always like healthy ways to deal with things that you're going through. And, you know, we're living proof that you can come out on the other side better off for it and make something cool in the process. Well, we hope that people think it's cool, but
it is cool. It is cool. It's really fucking cool, boys. And it's heavy. I mean, you know, like the vibes I get, I don't know, you probably hear different things, but I hear a bit of Code Orange in there, you know, a bit of Slipknot and a few other bits of influences. I mean, is that nailing on the head, or is there, where you dragging? Because it is different. I can see the progression through, you know, even the last EP.
Yeah.
And where it is to now, you know, this one is off the chart, man. It's crazy. Some of the guitar work and everything, it's nuts.
Thanks, man. Well, I guess it's funny because, like, to continue on with this, like Zakk and I kind of like, I've always been down the same path with everything, like music wise, interests wise. We always just seem to be doing the same thing, coincidentally.
Yeah, always on the same wavelength.
Yeah, we always agree with each other on pretty much everything. But for me, being the person who writes all of our instrumentals and things like that, all of the influences that I now draw from the band, I would have never ever heard of if it wasn't for Zakk. Like, he showed me, like, I grew up in a really conservative Christian household where like listening to metal was not a thing, like a normal thing. And Zakk grew up very much the opposite, like his family.
Yeah, that was very alternative, I guess. A lot of 90s influence, like new metal, you know, industrial sounds, shit like that. So I always grew up like with alternative music. I was never really one for the mainstream or, you know, what's popular on the radio, bullshit, yada yada. So I don't know, I guess, I introduced Caleb to a lot of things. So a lot of things I'm like, fuck, bro, you need to listen to this because this is sick and you're missing out.
Right. So like Deftones, now my favorite band of all time. I no idea. And he was like, dude, you haven't heard of, this is when we were probably like, 17. And he's like, you haven't heard of Deftones, bro? Like, what the fuck are you doing? And I was like, bro, how haven't I heard this before? This is ridiculous. Like Manson, Nine Inch Nails, like all shit that like I'd heard of them and like, but never really paid attention to until like he brought it to the table. Like for me, I was always like my dad grew me up on, I don't know, Eric Clapton and like the Eagles and shit until I found like Parkway Drive. And then I was always just about Parkway Drive and fucking North Lane. And then Zakk introduced me to this whole other side of music that I didn't even know fucking existed. And then it blew my mind so much. And I suppose like I started drawing on those influences in Spit You Out, especially like Deftones and Slipknot. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I'm always in Caleb's ear, like, hey, dude, make it sound like this, you know? Like, hey, dude, this would sound good.
Yeah. So like I call Zakk my creative consultant because like I wouldn't be able to create what I create if it wasn't for him, which is I think why we work so well together. We just like push each other to be the best creators that we can be. So
that's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. What's the weirdest influence that you drew from this one that you sort of suggested, where you were like, hey man?
The weirdest influence you gave me? Probably like I don't know. 9 Inch Nails, I guess, the weirdest. They're not weird.
Not nothing crazy, I don't think. No. I'm trying to think. Probably something that I mentioned down the track was like, hey man, that's sick. Do that. I don't know. I'll think if I remember, I'll get back to you.
I couldn't pinpoint one. I couldn't pinpoint one weird influence, but lots of influences that just when I was younger, I probably wouldn't even know. Like I would have found way later if it wasn't for Zakk showing me all this stuff. So yeah.
Man, there's always those bands though. Like even at my age, I'm listening to bands now where I've gone, why wasn't I listening to that earlier? Like, why didn't I give it a chance?
Literally.
Like, you know, man, I don't know. Old man.
I'm always trying to find new music.
Just when you think you can't, there's always more around the corner.
That's it.
Insane.
You go down that rabbit hole. But hey, the videos for those singles, Under My Skin and Full of Rage, are amazing. Where were they? Were they done up in Brisbane? Yeah.
So there's the same. Caleb, did we do the same for Full of Rage? That was why we did Split as well. Hey.
Yeah. So
So there's a little like practice room thing. What is it called? Works? Is it Works Studios?
Studios. It's in West End, and it's like the grossest, like smells moldy as fuck. It's disgusting. The floors
it is
wet.
Grunge, man. It is full grunge. That's what it
like
is.
A full heroin den looking shit. Like it's got PAs in every room, and so like we filmed half of the music video from our last EP there, and when we just needed a really gritty, like gross corner of a room, and I was like, that Work Studios place, that's the most disgusting place I remember going. Let's just do it there again. And we made our own little backdrop. I bought all this shit from Bunnings and we spray painted these big wood boards and then lit them on fire out the front of the prac rooms. I'm surprised we didn't get in trouble for it. We lit the paint and the board on fire and then like scratched them up with barbed wire and shit. And then I stole this cage, and our bassist stole some barbed wire off the side of the road, and we made this little like cage for Zakk to be in. And it was like, it's super DIY, but
it's probably my favorite video, I reckon.
Came out awesome.
Yeah. For how DIY shitty rigs, and we had 3 iPhones strapped through like an old light lid. Just like swinging.
Thing from Bunnings that was like, I thought it was a light that could plug into the wall and a bulb, but turns out that it couldn't plug into the wall. It was like you had to wire it in. We take our phones up into this light, and we had someone on it with it. It was on a mic stand, and they were just standing above, like swinging it above our heads the whole time on a mic stand. It was the shittiest rig ever.
But also, shout out to Sam for filming it, because Sam works his fucking wizardry. That's for sure.
And a weapon.
Hey, man.
It's our manager. Well, me and him both manage the band together. He does lots of our like design work and stuff, and he's always been like the biggest supporter of the band from day one. But he's a weapon behind the lens and editing, and he just like pulled it together and made this real shitty rig look actually good. I don't know how he did it.
It came out awesome. However you get to do it, you know what I mean? Like whatever gets the job done. And
Exactly.
it doesn't look, and that's the thing. It doesn't look budget. It doesn't look like it was.
Yeah. Well, that's good. That's the main thing we're aiming for, not to look budget.
No.
We want to look good at a budget, but we don't want it to look budget. It always seems to work out for us. Like the video for Gasoline Anthem literally cost us $0.
That's awesome.
Not a
See?
cent.
Best way of doing it.
It's
Best
like
way of doing it. You can
so
do it.
good. Yeah.
In regards to recording, though, you did it with Sean Delander from Sledgehammer Studios.
Yeah,
And
correct.
man, that dude, I've been hearing some incredible stuff coming out of his studio, of late.
Yeah,
man.
He's a good dude. He's a really good dude.
How did he push you guys to sort of get the best out of your takes and out of your tunes? Oh, there's a story coming.
So him and I, so like, so he and I both produced the record. I guess like together we worked a lot together. But Zakk came into the studio like after we'd already laid down all the tracks and stuff, and it was his turn to record. And basically, me and him had hatched this plan to get like the best performance out of Zakk we could. We were just going to piss the fuck out of him at the studio until he got so angry that his take would be like so aggressive that it was just ridiculous, right? And so we would be like taking the fucking piss. We would just be sitting back in our chairs like Zakk, he would be, all right, go. And he would press space bar instead of record and he would just start playing. And Zakk would like scream a line. He'd be like, oh, I wasn't recording, sorry, bro, and take it back. And then Zakk would like do like 5 or 6 takes of one line. The like big one-liner sort of things, ones that had to have the best delivery. And he would do like 5 or 6 takes, then get a sick take. And then Sean would like on purpose start recording again and it would delete that take. And he'd be like, oh, sorry, bro, I accidentally deleted the take. And then the next take was always like 10 times better because it was a sick take and we deleted it. And he got that angry that the next take was like 10 times better.
Fucking dog.
And there was literally points where Zakk would do the line again, get the best take ever, walk out of the booth and be like, fuck you, I'm going home, and just walk out the door. And like, we were like, okay, but we got the line.
That's amazing.
It's so funny, man.
So, it worked in the end.
It worked out well.
How were you when they told you the plan? When they sat you down and said, look, you know, we kind of did that on purpose, you know? Like,
No, not till recently.
We never told him.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
But no, Sean's like the best dude ever. Coming into the studio, like, you know, he plays in Viada's Murder. He's a bit of a big deal. And so we didn't know what to expect, but just the most down-to-earth, like, nicest guy on the planet. Like, wouldn't have tried to do it with anyone else, to be honest.
Well, talking about Viada's Murder, I mean, it's coming out through Human Warfare, which is Andy's label.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. How's it working with him?
Yeah, it's good.
He's a good dude.
He is a great dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually was just at his house for dinner the other night. Cooked me a nice steak. Lovely.
Oh, there you go. Hey, shout out to Andy.
Shout out Andy.
Somewhere.
He's
out there somewhere.
He makes really good dry aged steaks. So fantastic. But yeah, it's been sick. He's like super supportive, like helps us in all aspects. You know, he's helped us out a lot. So really appreciative of him as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I mean, you guys have been doing this for quite a long time now. I mean, the press. Yeah. I mean, reading the press it makes it sound like it was overnight, but it's not. I mean, you guys people don't see the blood, sweat, beers.
Oh, dude,
tears,
the grind, man.
The grind. That's right.
The grind. It's been close to 9 years now, I'd say. 2013. The end of 2013, we started as APATE, started doing stuff. But you know, you fucking 2013 again. We're like 17 years old. We're like, oh, dude, it's all right. You know, like. Next year, like a couple years, you know, we'll be massive, like big Europe tours, USA, all this shit, you know, it's all gonna be sick. Fucking 8 years later, it's like, oh yeah, dude. Cool. It's all starting to kind of
we're starting to do some cool tours now. Like
yeah.
That seems to be the the rule. I guess it's the 10-year thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You got to do the grind. I mean, it turns you, I guess, into a professional. Once you do the grind, you know what it's like. You got to sacrifice.
That's it, man. That's it.
Yeah.
You got to. What was that? Sorry, you're just slowing down then.
Oh yeah, my internet was cutting out for a second.
That's all right.
I was just saying, you learn and you grow. I mean, like, when we first started, like, we were just trying our hardest to rip off like any influence that we had, because we just were young and wanted to make music, and we didn't understand what being in a band meant. And like most people, I guess, these days are like that are starting new bands, had band experience previously, so they know what they're doing. They go to the right mixing and mastering, and like their first release is kind of sick. Our first release was dog shit.
Sucks, dude.
Dog shit.
But it shows you the progression of our band from then to now is drastic.
Yeah. And like this is our first serious metal band. Like for me, it was my first serious band, and for Zakk was his first serious band. We had school bands, but like they never did anything. And so it's been cool to like grow from our first like band and our first show at my parents' church with like Endworld and like bands like that. And like we sucked, and like now we like still kind of suck, but we suck less.
You don't suck. Hey, you've done the journey though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but if I say it, no one else can say it. You know what I mean? Doesn't hurt so much.
Talking about, you did the tour as well. Talking about touring, you did, was it 3 shows sold out?
Yeah.
Holy shit, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. For our first, 3 shows back, they all sold out, so can't complain about that, really.
Yeah, can't complain at all. I mean,
So which was the best one?
Brisbane's always. Brisbane was sick.
But
Sydney, on the road, Sydney was really good.
Sydney was, blew our expectations out of the water.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Which was, you played somewhere, was it like a wrestling thing?
Oh, dude.
Oh, yeah.
No.
What was that?
That was up here. Our mate's like a professional wrestler, and he teed up this thing where like his wrestling, they were bringing back hardcore matches. So like we got to see dudes get belted with like barbed wire baseball bats and like the thing where they get like the skewers and they like stab them into each other's heads, and then they've just got skewers sticking out of their heads and they're bleeding down their foot. It was gnarly.
No,
but
I have not seen that part.
It exists. It's a real thing.
Wow.
And then like, straight up barbed wire, like steel chair wrapped in like 100 meters of barbed wire straight into some dude's stomach twice. It was gnarly, man.
And it was real. It wasn't like, the.
Yeah. It was real. Fuck.
Wow.
Like it's wrestling still, like,
Yeah.
But the pain, it was real, I can tell you.
That's brutal. That's brutal.
Dude.
Where was that? Back room, was it?
Yeah, back room. Yeah, Chardon's corner.
Good old back room.
Yeah. You always get a different crowd there, You always get a weird, different crowd at the back room.
Yeah. Weird venue, but it's underrated, I reckon.
It is, yeah.
We played there with Crazy Town 2 years ago. It was like our second last show before lockdown.
Yeah, Crazy Town.
Crazy Town, bro.
Wow.
It was the reunion tour for that big album. I'm trying to think what it was
Gift
called.
of the Game, bro.
Gift of the Game. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I remember they were going to do the tour, but I didn't know that you guys opened for them.
Yeah.
It's pretty heavy.
We played under them. We were main support.
Wow.
Main support. Yeah.
How was it?
Weird, dude.
It was at the back room, dude. It was weird.
It was weird as fuck, man. It was like like the monster drinking, 3/4 shorts wearing, fucking backwards cap having like stereotype of that like new metal fan. Like that's not a stereotype, bro. That is facts. these dudes were like full Kyles with like drinking Monster Energy, punching holes in drywall type shit. Like
definitely Kyles.
Dirt bikes. Doing
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, dirt
absolutely.
bikes,
to
you
the-
name it, unit stickers. It's all
Oh,
there.
man.
Tickets going galore. And it was like, and the Crazy Town guys, they're like try and act the same, but they're like 20 years older, and like they were lovely. They were the sweetest dudes ever. But it's like, it's so funny. It was just like the weirdest, but kind of coolest experience ever.
Yeah.
See, I don't know. How old are you dudes? If you know,
25.
okay.
25, yeah.
All right. All right. Yeah. See, I'm an old man. I remember that when that album came out and people like lost their shit.
Lost
It was
their
like
shit, yeah.
a big deal at the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
man,
I was like 5.
Dude, it's still a song. Butterfly is still a song that everyone hears and goes, oh, dude, I love this song.
Wait,
I mean-
Toxic is still one of my favorite songs like ever. That shit's so good. Toxic. Yeah, dude.
man, no, I don't have a dirt bike. I may live on the Gold Coast, but I don't, drive a pickup and have a dirt bike or drink mother. So
Should get on
don't
that,
judge
bro.
me. But you've played other supports too. I mean, you've done like Born of Osiris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With Chelsea Grin. Was that Buenos Aires with Chelsea Grin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah. Americans.
Polaris. We've supported Polaris a couple times.
Yeah.
Supported Alpha Wolf a bunch of times. That's pretty cool. There's some friends of ours from way back that are doing pretty good these days. We've supported Parkway back in the day. Like at a little festival. We weren't like main support. We were the first band on the festival, but there was only 3 metal bands, us in Hotsweg and Parkway, so that was cool.
That's crazy. I used to book them back in the day.
Oh, true.
Long
No
time
way.
ago. Just when
I just watched that Viva La Underdogs on
Same.
Netflix. It is insane to see
good.
that they're playing shows of that fucking stature. Holy crap.
Yeah. And they're still the
That-
same dudes. It seems so genuine all the time. I love it.
That's big dick, man. That's huge dick. From where the little shed under the Parkway house, like fucking to that, dude. That's nuts.
my wife was at their very first show.
Wow.
No way.
Yeah, well, there's more.
Good chick. Hold on to that one.
She's asleep. But
Oh.
yeah, she used to go, oh yeah, saw him. She was more into the emo-y stuff, but
Yeah.
but I was like, oh wow. But of course, I mean, you got heaps of stuff coming up though. I mean, you've got the EP dropping this week. You're also doing Halloween Hysteria at the end of the year.
Yeah, it was
that's gonna be
Spider-Man.
awesome,
That's pretty
man.
mad. Yeah.
But what else you guys got coming up cooking for the rest of the year? Any other news apart from the
Got a
more
few
recording?
things cooking. Well, pretty much we're just trying to tour as much as we can at the moment. Really get the word out there about the record that's coming out in 2 days. So
Yeah, crazy. That's come up so fast.
It is.
2 days at the time of this interview.
That's
But yeah, it's come out real fast. So yeah, pretty much just probably preparing for the next release also, because we don't want to fall behind and then wait 2-3 years before releasing a follow-up like we did until now. Luckily, COVID bought us some time.
We can just be
Has
the
some
next.
bad moments.
It's all right. We can wait.
well,
Yeah, man.
man,
It's 20 years between releases.
yeah, you don't want to. There was another band I was listening to. They just keep them rolling, keep the metal rolling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's for
that's
sure.
what we're trying to do.
Have you heard the whole EP? Have you heard the whole thing?
Yeah, man. I was
Yeah.
at work printing banners and stuff today and cranking it. Heard it a few times actually. It's really
What
good.
what song do you like the most?
I can't remember the titles because I had my phone in my pocket. But
Oh, good.
man, yeah, like I like it as a whole, to be honest.
Yeah.
And there's that real melodic one too.
Softest one. Lies
Yeah,
Tongue.
yeah.
Yeah, that's your favorite.
I really like
That's
that.
what-
That was really good. Yeah,
Thanks,
I don't know, man. There was heaps of little bits and pieces I said before, like that jumped out at me, like little crazy guitar bits and vocal bits, and just it really flows. I think people are really gonna like it.
I'm kind of
cool.
glad that you listen to it.
Hey, man.
Sorry. I'm
Go
kind
on.
of glad that you listen to it that way because, like, I feel like it's meant to be like an experience. It's meant to be listened to like start to finish type thing. So I think that's the best way to listen to it. So I'm glad that's how you listen to it.
Absolutely. I didn't stop. I just had it on loop in my pocket.
No.
Cool.
But dudes, thanks so much for joining us on the show. It's been awesome hanging with you. Come down and play a show on the Goldie soon. That's what you got to do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We were supposed to be, but now it's been moved. But that means we'll probably come ourselves at some point to do.
You know what? That's all right.
Vinny's it's way cooler anyway because it's like a little dive bar. You know, you get that intimate, you know, the crowd interaction. Everyone's
I'm playing there Friday night, so
Oh, cool.
drunken.
They're also easier to deal with. So.
Mate, it gets nuts there, eh? I mean, it's tiny. It's about the size
I
of
miss
this room.
Expressive Ground, dude.
Oh, I know, right? Man.
Dude, that was the best venue. We played there with Prepared Like a Bride when we were like 18. That shit was sick.
Wow, that's going back a long time.
It is, yeah.
Man.
And Sabercat, man. Sabercat. Bring them back.
Cat. Yeah.
They're still kicking, but they just don't do anything.
They're never going to do anything.
Nah, I hope they do because they're the best band ever. Best band. If you don't know Sabercat, go and look them up and watch the one that has a little like fucking what is
it? The
Power
Digimon
Rangers robot?
Yeah.
Power Rangers looking transforming thing. They rule.
I'll check that out. I saw I wrestled a bear once there. And it was
shit. Yeah.
Oh,
That would have been pretty nuts.
that was
I
insane.
forget that they exist.
I
What band?
wabo.
Man.
Dude, you loved it. Didn't you love them, Zach?
Yeah, I quite rated I wrestled a bear once. Just because it was nuts to see a chick going nuts like that.
Now look at her. She's like,
Yeah.
man, now she's all like you know, doing the spirit box thing and blowing up here.
Oh,
is
she's
that
Spirit
her?
Box chick.
Yeah.
Dude, I didn't know that. That's
Ah.
sick.
Yeah.
Spirit Box are cool as fuck too.
Courtney LaPlante. Yeah.
Yeah.
I not
I
know
with
that.
her and I was like,
I was actually watching a video this morning that punk rock NBA dude, and talking about like how all the dudes like give her and Hayley Williams a hard time because they're like they just came in and then changed up to pop, but they've been doing punk music for like longer than anyone that says that's been alive. It's like, bro, nah.
I love that band, eh? Nah.
So good, dude.
Hey, you know, hey dudes, thanks for hanging out. And the EP comes out this Friday, June 25th.
Yep.
See you guys soon, and we'll see you on the coast.
Yeah. Cheers, man. Thank you. Have a good
Thanks,
night.
dudes. Take care.